Hi, Richard Moore here from Makesip Startup. So I wanted to talk about building teams today and the way you interact with people who can provide other skills or services or functions to your startup business. The reason why this is of great interest at the moment is several people have contacted me saying, look, we've been building this business together, Richard. We're now moving to a point where it's starting to scale really well. I'm now hitting this wall of, trying to keep the thing afloat and moving and keeping the pace going. But at the same time, now I've got to do more in the way of accountancy, or perhaps, there's a lot of work to be done with building the new website or something like that. And these skills that, to start with, you can probably get by on your own, just kind of building the little bits yourself, but really you need someone with experience, a specialist, to start coming in, because as you move up to the next level, a certain presentation or level of quality is expected. So you need to have a deeper awareness of accounting, or you need to have your finance dealt with in a better way. You need to have a better understanding of web development, or at least your site needs to be a bit more polished and well structured. And all these things come together to typically mean that either there's a huge sap on your time, not least because you have to learn so much more, or you need to start looking at bringing people on board to help you out. A lot of people say, where do you start? What's the first person you should really hire? And I've had two different camps who've shared different ideas on this with me. And some people often will say the first thing you should do is hire an assistant. The first hire you ever make should be an assistant, because it allows you then to continue focusing on your business while they deal with perhaps the things that are arguably a little lower level, that require maybe lots of your time but are actually quite straightforward to achieve. Another camp suggests that you should grow sales, the sales team, because of course with more people involved in sales for you, that will speed up the cash flow, and with cash flow then you can buy more sales, well then you can go from there. I think every case is different, of course, but the question really I wanted to look at today is, at what point do you outsource, and at what point do you get someone in-house? And I really need you to understand that there really are three levels of having skills catered for, or functions that are necessary in a business dealt with. The first level is do everything yourself through learning. So you could, for instance, if you have no money, start with a basic level understanding that you can get through YouTube of how to do your accounts, a basic level of understanding through the plethora of free webinars out there on how to do Facebook advertising and things like that, and marketing and things. So there's plenty of resource out there for you to learn. What you need to do is make sure you double down, and actually put these things into practice. And of course, you've got to make sure that you are very, very good with your time management. There soon comes to a point where your startup businesses just hit that kind of plateau, as it's known in the kind of the cycle of growing a business, where they simply can't move much further forward unless something comes in and gives you a helping hand, because you're only one man or you're only one lady. So the next level above being just you on your own and helping yourself by learning the different functions that you need is then outsourcing things. And I strongly believe this is a good way of doing things, in the sense of getting an expert, paying the money, and having them deal with the headaches. And what happens is you suddenly leap up. A great example is a web developer. When I got a web developer, suddenly what I needed and I could visualize in terms of my web presence, that was achieved, as opposed to me grinding out some kind of website that just didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, because I was teaching myself as I went. It's good, of course, whilst you're outsourcing things, to still have a working knowledge of what you're doing, but at the same time, it's really about saying to yourself, where am I not as strong as I should be? Well, I need to get someone in to help with that. Accounting was a very good spend of several £1,000s a year. All that stress and headache relating to the finances and the cash flow in my business. Whilst I have a strong handle on it, because it's my business, and in fact all four of my businesses, I'm very aware at all times of what money's coming in and out. Typically all of the finance is dealt with by my accountant, and as a result, that's one less thing to focus on. It allows me more time and focus and space to do my thing that I do well. But moving on from outsourcing is the idea of bringing people into your space. Now, I would argue that you're starting to move away from being a startup and being more established when you start getting people on a payroll. So I have people on my payroll, and what it means is that you're actually paying them as an employee working for your business. And with that, I've mentioned this recently online, with that it comes this special thing of touch. It means that someone's within arm's reach. Sometimes you're in the same office as each other and you can just turn on your chair and ask someone right there, and nothing beats that. The step beneath outsourcing things and having third parties, it's great. If I've got an amazing accountant, they're often only a phone call away or an email away, but they're busy working with other people as well. If you can motivate and manage people well and you get the right people hired, then you've got someone who's really bought into your story, works with your kind of narrative and what you're trying to achieve, and they really are there for you all the time, and that's really a wonderful thing. But then moving beyond there, as you really scale up a business, it may well be that you outsource again, and certain larger functions you don't need to pay for in the business. Again, it's kind of a larger or a macro version of just working with yourself as a person, then getting some people outsourcing some of the skills to them. But with a larger scale business, you would outsource a whole function to someone. And you then could go further and after that argue that you bring it back in-house. As it moves up, rather than you as a person and some people around you, it becomes your business and outsourcing, and then your business and bringing more people in-house to do everything. And the larger the business, often the more that you get things being done in-house. But I want you to understand this idea today of an ecosystem, because it's a really good way, a really good keyword or a really good word to describe what's actually going on when you're moving from the first to the second stage. And this word was thrown at me in this context by Jeffrey Garrett this week. I was in touch with Jeffrey. He is the Dean of Wharton Business School, or Wharton University, the University of Pennsylvania in the States. Forbes have ranked them #1 for their undergraduate course worldwide. They're voted, I think, by Business Insider #1 worldwide for their MBA course. And you've got CEOs from businesses like Pepsi, like GE, like Boeing, and many other companies that have been all from Wharton. And people, whilst some of them may have dropped out, the likes of Elon Musk, the likes of Warren Buffett, they're all Wharton alumni as well. So these guys, they know how to teach business. And Jeffrey sits at the top of the entire university because he's the dean here. And he said, Richard, I think the word really is an ecosystem when it comes to startups. And I think what he's suggesting with this is that you should think of it as a sea of people, all with many different skills and functions that can help each other out. And there's this state of flux where people kind of move in and out and help each other out. And maybe, I suppose, the third party approach is the same as this. When you're outsourcing to people, you're tapping into skills, but with people who are singular persons and individuals, as opposed to going to a business to try and help them with, for instance, your social media. So I like that idea, and I think that's a really good way of leveraging all these great characters that are on social media who are talking about all the different services they provide. You can go out there and start your own business, the first level, do it all on your own, but then the next level, you can tap into the startup ecosystem and you can say to yourself, right, I need someone who's going to help me with a logo. I'll tap into this guy and he can do that. He's a good contact. He will do this thing. Now I need someone who can help me with SEO. He can do this or she can do that. Now I need Facebook ads. Oh, there's a group online I can tap into and these are some great people there. And what you've got is this kind of huge organism of people all doing their own thing, but there's genuinely a lot of helping each other out. Sure, a lot of people have an agenda. The more you give, the more you help, the more you give value, the more people want to then buy into you. But it's a really interesting thing to tap into. The biggest mistake is early on thinking you're going to go it alone and do it all on your own, when in fact there's a lot of people out there who you can simply ask, if only you lose your ego for a moment and show a bit of humility. Ask some questions questions, get in front of people who are experts in their space, because there's an abundance of them, especially nowadays. Jump on Facebook. If you're weak on Facebook ads, go to a group that helps with Facebook ads, and it'll be headed by a top guy. And think about it this way, no expert's going to join a group, okay, unless it's a group that really adds value. And when the group is big and full of good people, then you can expect that you're going to get some great quality there, and you can just ask around and ask questions. Never before has there been this opportunity to be able to learn and help each other out like this. And the more you connect and network, the more you tap into this ecosystem. And I promise you, because I've experienced this firsthand, what it means is in moments when you need a helping hand with something, you can say, that guy there, that's going to help me out, or that guy, that lady there, she can help me with this particular thing, and your progress is so much more fluid as a result. So bear that in mind. There's a real ecosystem out there. Don't be stubborn, don't have too much pride, suck it up, go to the people where, go to where the experts are, and see, mesh with that particular network, work in that niche, and see if those people can help you. Having mentors is really important, sure, but there are people out there who can really coach you, who are absolute specialists in particular areas. So certain things in my businesses, okay, I've gone to particular parts of the ecosystem to get people to help me with those kind of spaces, all the while you're sitting on top of that pile as it grows, okay? So bear that in mind. That's a way companies can grow, but there's a kind of a very important force out there, which is the ecosystem. Jeffrey Garrett stirred something within me by saying that, and you need to tap into it if you're going to get ahead. And this is such a lean way of building things, because there's a lot of good favor online, and a lot of people, if you'll only do it in the right way, a lot of people will be happy to share and help you out, and then you can take it from there. From there, in fact, great relationships and connections, and in fact partnerships can come out of it, and I've found that myself as well. Okay, so tap into the ecosystem, leverage and use it in the nicest possible way to help grow your business too. I'll speak to you soon.